Veteran actor Andy Serkis' unannounced return to the Star Wars universe as Kino Loy was a welcome surprise, but the actor needed a minute to weigh the offer to play this new role. After all, Serkis did previously play Supreme Leader Snoke in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Will this create confusion for the fans' already complicated theories? Stay tuned while we tell you all about it. Warning, spoilers ahead. First things first, what did Serkis have to say about keeping his appearance a secret? It's not just Star Wars. Serkis always seemed to be juggling multiple top-secret projects. The actor admitted that whenever he enters the Star Wars universe, there are always a few surprises around the corner. The 58-year-old English actor said that he felt much less pressure keeping the whole thing a secret since nobody knew about it. He added that it was a good idea to have put off announcing it till way later. As for the role itself, Serkis said he couldn't really compare playing Kino Loy with his experience portraying Snoke, since the two were entirely different. The actor did admit, though, that he loved playing Snoke, especially since he never thought he'd be making a return to the Star Wars universe to play another character. But when Andor creator and Rogue One writer Tony Gilroy approached him asking if he'd play Kino Loy, Serkis had a few doubts. He couldn't help but wonder if it could end up being confusing to everybody, especially since there were already so many Snoke theories flying around. Now let's talk about Serkis' concerns about playing Kino Loy. While Andy Serkis' new Star Wars character is very different from Snoke, the series' 10th episode did little to alleviate any confusion that may have lingered for some viewers, finally agreeing to assist Cassian Andor in instigating a mass prison break on Narkina 5. Serkis' Kino Loy was critical to the plan's success. However, one scene in particular made it difficult to distinguish between the Floor 52D manager and the future Supreme Leader of the First Order. Andy Serkis has a distinct voice in addition to his impressive motion capture abilities. As a result, Kino Loy sounds similar to Snoke at times, as both characters have Serkis' typical vocal range. However, after Cassian pushes Kino Loy to use the prison's comm system to inspire the rest of the prison to rise up, their voices become nearly indistinguishable in Andor Episode 10. While everything Kino says is epic and his words incite rebellion, his deeper modulation makes him sound almost identical to Snoke. Despite the fact that the chances of a canonical connection between the two characters are extremely slim, it's a scene that can certainly take viewers out of the moment, especially if they've watched the sequel trilogy recently. Moving on, is Andy Serkis' character in Andor related to Supreme Leader Snoke? Kino Loy's fate is currently unknown following the revelation that he couldn't swim at the end of Andor Episode 10, leaving him unable to claim his freedom like Cassian and the rest of the prison inmates. As a result, the Empire may recapture Serkis' Kino. If he is taken by the Imperials again, there is at least one narrative path in which the prison break attracts the Emperor's attention, who then decides to punish Loy by corrupting his legacy. Perhaps Kino becomes a partial template for Snoke, given that Palpatine genetically created him to be his puppet decades later in the Star Wars universe. Again, the chances are extremely slim. In all likelihood, Andy Serkis was given the role of Kino Loy as a result of his self-proclaimed love for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That being said, it's amusing how much Kino sounds like Snoke while inspiring others to fight the Empire's oppression, which evolves into the First Order led by the Supreme Leader himself. Lastly, Andy Serkis in Andor is better than his Star Wars sequels role. Overall, Andy Serkis is a far more dynamic Star Wars character in Kino Loy. Snoke was not the overarching villain of the sequel trilogy, with only a few scenes between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi before his death, a big disappointment for Serkis. Kino Loy, on the other hand, had a lot more room to grow as a dynamic character who chose to fight as soon as the Empire ripped away the little hope he had in prison. Let's hope Kino survives to appear in Season 2 of Andor, even if he does sound like Palpatine's puppet. Up next, Andy Serkis talks about Episode 10's emotional moment and Snoke-Kino fan theories. The number of fan theories surrounding Snoke's identity only increased in the 2 years between J.J. Abrams' The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, resulting in the popular "Your Snoke Theory Sucks" slogan and sticker. As a result, Serkis couldn't help but hesitate at first, knowing that his presence on Andor would spark new Snoke theories involving Kino. The actor felt it would cause complete uproar and more confusion for the audience, leading them to believe that there would be some sort of connection between the Supreme Leader and Kino Loy. Serkis told The Hollywood Reporter that the whole thing made him question if he was ready to be a part of so much uncertainty, but once he got through the Snoke theory quagmire, it didn't take him long to commit. Now let's talk about how Serkis delivered us the best version of Kino Loy we could have gotten. Serkis' arc began with Kino as an unbreakable factory foreman and ended with him as the selfless point man who assisted in the release of Cassian Andor and the remaining inmates from the ocean-based prison Narkina 5. Despite Kino Kino's change of heart. The episode ends in tragedy when he reveals to Cassian that he can't swim, implying that he willingly gave up his life for the freedom of his fellow prisoners. Serkis explained his vision behind playing Kino Loy, saying that was exactly why he wanted him to have been from a place of integrity before being in prison. The actor went on to talk about Loy's inspiring character arc, referring to episode 10, where he finds the desire to act on behalf of others again, even though he knows at the end of it all, it's not going to happen for him. Andor director Toby Haynes revealed that Serkis had initially tried an accent in rehearsal, and it got us wondering if the actor made that choice to avoid giving fans a reminder of Snoke. Turns out it was really just exploration. Serkis tried an accent that was very similar to his father's Middle Eastern accent. It seemed to be working, but then they decided that it might just end up overcomplicating things. Moving on, Serkis was just as pumped as the audience when he performed the "Never More Than 12" line. It was the transitional moment for the character as you follow his arc, being a man who's become so desensitized and is only really looking after the number one and just wants to get to the end of his prison sentence. Kino was a character who believed he had an opportunity to get back to. Serkis explained how they set up this backstory, giving him a family and making him a factory worker, a shop steward, and a foreman in his life outside prison. They made Kino very vocal about workers' rights, but then showed how he forgot all about that as soon as he was in prison and became a tough shell of his former self. He became someone who just wanted to get through the day. But at the moment where he says his iconic line, the scales fall from his eyes, and he re-engages with his truth and finds himself again. Next, there was one more pivotal dialogue. "I can't swim" was a tragic moment, but it also recontextualized the entire episode. Kino led those men to freedom even though he knew he wasn't going to be able to swim out of the floating prison they ended up in. That's probably why he had a bit of trouble delivering the rousing speech at first, too. Serkis saw it the same way. He explained that the Empire, in all its cruelty and desensitization, and its way of holding people down and dividing and ruling, had changed him as a person, but later in episode 10, he finds the desire to enable others to find their freedom and serve them. Lastly, Serkis remembered his most memorable day on Black Panther. The English actor said working with Chad Boseman was incredible, recalling his fondest memory of working with the late Chadwick Boseman on the set of Ryan Coogler's Black Panther. He recalled a nighttime shoot they had, where they were filming the moment when T'Challa finally catches up with Chloe. Serkis said the fight that they had as he dragged him out of the overturned car was an amazing moment, explaining that Boseman was so keyed up to do the whole thing. Serkis said Boseman was a beautiful, spiritual person and powerful actor, and just sharing those brief moments on screen with him was wonderful. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys think there still could be a connection between Kino Loy and Snoke? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.